There we go.
Oh, hello. Hold on, let me move so I'm a little bit more centered. Look at that. Oh,
Shit, you subscribed.
whoa! What the heck?
Thank you.
What just
Start by
happened?
giving you $7.99.
Holy!
That equals to
That's
$95.88.
crazy.
Hope it was all spent on V's.
Who could it be? Wow.
Thank you for the subscribe. Hey, fucking too bloody good, mate. Too bloody good. Episode 8.
Episode 8.
Episode 8. 2 in a row. Fucking getting all our ducks in order, eh? Hey, I brought this V this morning. I'm fiending it now. Can we crack them open?
Yeah, let's go.
Hell yeah! All right, let's get a quick pick. Ah! I got this guy.
I got a new one. Look at the webcam.
Do a couple of faces. See what one we can get. Do a soy jack real quick.
That'll be used for sure.
Epic. That's so good. Hey mate, how's your week been?
Ooh, it's been ages since I've had that, V. Week has been great.
Good.
End.
In the scene, that's it.
No, it's been good. Outside of work, what have I been doing? Finished Metal Gear Rising.
Yeah.
I want to do more of those 30-second reviews. I need to do one for
Sekiro. If this TikTok that I'm planning on doing doesn't take me like 7 hours to edit together, then I think that'll be enough for me to be like, yeah, I can do that, and then just start posting them as well. But I agree. I feel like those are the kinds of really sharp, quick content that people like to consume, you know?
Because I want to do one for Sekiro, and then I can also do one for Metal Gear Rising.
Nice.
But yeah, I've sort of decided that the next game I'm going to stream is Bloodborne. And I'll buy the Old Hunters DLC at some point.
I think you've got PlayStation Plus, right?
I do, and I had a look on the store the other day, and Bloodborne's there. Like, that's how I have it, is from PlayStation Plus, but it doesn't say, like, Game of the Year edition or anything like that.
Oh, okay. All right.
I think it's just standard Bloodborne.
Yeah, maybe I brought the Game of the Year edition on my PlayStation.
But I'm sure...
And that's why I've got it, yeah.
I'm sure I can find... the DLC, I'm sure, is hopefully not going to be too expensive.
I think it's like $15.
Yeah, I feel like the last time I saw it was like $15. So,
and I'm pretty sure it's one of those ones that's like, if you've got PlayStation Plus, then it's like even cheaper or whatever. Yeah. Sick. I actually can't wait. Do you think you'll pick up where you left off when you first started?
Yeah, because I only streamed it once, and so
yeah, and I think you beat Gascoigne, right?
Did I stream it once or twice? I beat Gascoigne, I beat Cleric Beast, and I think I was on my way to what's the one in the church? Wood? Yeah. I can't remember. Like,
yeah.
It's been half a year since.
True. I recall distinctly recall you being like, I'm actually good at this game, and then you're just like fucking straight up riposting like every single person. You're like, I'm good at this game. I know what I'm doing.
I know what I'm doing in Bloodborne. Yeah. At least at the start, like the first few hours, I've gone through so many times.
Yeah.
But it's just the last bit of the game I've only done maybe once or twice. So that'll be different. And obviously the DLC I've never played before, but heard big things about Old Hunters.
It's genuinely like it's exactly what you would expect it to be. It doesn't lock any content behind it like some other games, you know, with DLC it will lock a like understanding or a secret ending for the full thing. It's just like good at what it does. Like having that additional stuff. And low-key, once you get to the Cathedral Warden, I think beat the what's her name? The
I think that's where I'm up to, and I can never remember her name.
yeah. No, it's not Maria, is it?
I
No.
keep wanting to say Amelia, but
Something like that. Once you beat her, you can then go to the old hunters. It's fucking hard there, even like at in-game level, it's still hard. But you could get some cool new
Mm.
weapons. What kind of build is it again? Was it just like a basic strength one?
my character, yeah,
Mm,
I've tried the like being years ago when I played it. I tried being like a blood tinge build and stuff,
yeah.
but I just never really enjoyed it as much as just being like a normal strength
Yeah,
build.
because I ran a blood tinge build on mine when
Mm,
I played through because I got I basically gunned it for Canehurst
yeah.
to get all of the blood tinge stuff. But there's a part of me, and yes, I know I've beaten the game and I've beaten the DLC and everything, but there's a part of me that's like, should I go back to Bloodborne at some point and beat it just as a pure strength build again?
Mm,
Because it's the only one out of all of the games that I haven't played through and as a strength build. But and low key, like it wouldn't even be a task for me. I'd be happy to do
yeah.
it. You know? Yeah.
But yeah. And then later on, I think it is about a month from now. It's the 20 something of October is when the Resident Evil Village DLC comes out. So
Oh, really?
yeah. So that's
Fuck.
when
Okay.
I'll finish off Resident Evil,
Uh-huh.
and then I'm not too sure. I feel like I should play or finish the Dark Souls games as well, but
Mm.
it'll just depend on how much fun I'm having versus how many people are watching,
I Mate, preach to a goddamn choir
which
with that
is
one.
the thing.
I
Um,
think that's the issue is people either want to watch you PvP, which is something that I clearly can't do, and or they want you to suck at it and like keep failing. But the issue is like that wears off really quickly.
yeah,
Like for people watching you, that wears off super quickly. I'll be honest though, not having to think about what I'm playing next has been a massive relief for me. Like
mm,
knowing that I've got knowing that I've got the Souls game next that I have to play. So once not Bloodborne 3, fucking Dark Souls 3 is finished, I'm gonna be like, what do I do with my hands?
are you gonna
Look at
do
these hands.
horror games?
During October, providing I finish. To be honest, like if I don't finish Dark Souls 3 during October, that's fine. But I will probably end up playing a few spooky games during that time when I
Mm,
do the Joker stream. So
yep,
the idea for that is to basically do a like scary stream, like a Halloween stream or whatever, so that I can kill two birds, essentially.
gotcha.
So I'll probably play maybe like Dead Space 1,
Yep.
because I think I'm planning on doing like a 12-hour one, so it might be a
Mm,
situation where I play Dead Space 1, and then I'm sure Fortnite will do a cool little bloody Halloween thing for their shtick.
yes.
So I'll play Fortnite with a couple of the boys. If you want to jump in, you can. um,
Fortnite.
and then I'll probably end up just. I think if it's going to be a 12-hour one, I wouldn't be surprised if I can knock out without going into too much like
Yeah,
collectathon style stuff. I could knock out Dead Space 1 at least. Um, but as soon as I finish Dark Souls 3, which will be probably halfway through October, I imagine.
yeah,
I'll
because
be
especially if you're doing both DLCs, because
yeah.
you've got plenty of content remaining from that
Yeah.
title.
Mhm. And I'm
Yeah,
enjoying it. It's fun. I really like Dark Souls 3. Like that game has like low key nostalgia for me without it actually being nostalgia, if that makes sense. Like I
yeah,
remember getting that from my mate shouts out Lawrence, for Christmas, and that being like the first Souls game that I had played outside of Bloodborne, and because it was, it had like those similar kind of feelings to it, but it was still really fucking hard, and I was like, this game's I'm
Yeah.
so good at it, and but I do like that everyone who kind of comes through has already played through it, so they're like, hey, this is how you do it. This is how you beat this boss. Or, hey, fucking level something else up other than the sword that you've got right now. And then you beat them first go.
Well, that was like
But
yesterday
yeah,
when you were fighting, what's his name? I can't remember. But
the slug?
yeah, I just
Yeah.
remember when I fought that thing, I also used the heavy weapon,
Mm.
and it was so much harder than it needed to be.
Like, compare it, like, and that's the thing. I think the game, because the game really gives you, like, upgrade materials. Not the later upgrade materials, but, like, the early stage
Yep.
ones. It gives you a lot of them really early, and I think it's because it wants you to use more than one weapon throughout the game.
Or it doesn't want to leave you in a position where like you're stuck just using your one leveled up weapon, and it's
Yeah.
like, well, now I have to go back to the beginning of the game and farm all this other shit. So
Yeah.
it does a good job at that.
I think it's going to be cool. I'm looking forward to playing through all of that.
Mhm.
Yeah, and then after that, I think once we're out of October and we hit November, there's one or two things. I'll either play Pokemon or the new Pokemon that's coming out, or I'll jump straight into Neo. The
Oh
issue
yeah,
with playing the Pokemon games, or playing the new Pokemon, is that I'm competing with people who, and would you believe it, streamers worried about his stats. The
couldn't be me.
the when new Pokemon games come out, the Pokemon streamers like 24-hour beat the game, and like basically anyone who wants to watch someone playing the game will just play that.
Yeah,
We'll just watch
watch
them.
them. Yeah,
So it's a bit of a and an ah. But the thing with that is we get it early. We get it a day early. So I don't know. Maybe we'll figure it out. I'm sure.
That's always been one of my thinking points whenever new games come out. Is like, should I stream this on the day it comes out? Since we're gonna be some of the few people who are actually playing this game right now.
Yeah.
But yeah, I guess it's different for big games like Pokemon, because I'd assume there's already like concrete Pokemon streamers who everyone follows already,
Yeah,
or
like
whatever.
Small Ant. When BDSP came out, the Diamond and Pearl remakes, he did a 24-hour stream to complete the Pokédex, and he did it and so people were just watching him. And when I was playing that, I was like, I think the only reason that I really got some viewership during my time playing that was, one, because I was doing a Nuzlocke, and two was because I did the charity stream as well, so naturally I had more people coming through. So that'll that makes sense. But I think I'll move on to Neo next. It's either going to be Neo or it's going to be Mortal Shell. I like the idea of that game. I've played the first area, probably like the first hour and a bit, so I'd be curious to see what that'll kind of
Yeah,
look like.
I never gave Mortal Shell much of a chance. There was like a demo for it on Epic a couple of years ago, or whenever, and I played that for maybe 10 minutes, and I was like, oh yeah, this is pretty cool. Neo.
A handful of people play it, and I was like, it doesn't. I won't buy this game unless it's on sale, and then it became one of the free games on, like, one of the monthly free games. So
Yeah.
what were you gonna say?
I was just gonna say Neo. I remember when that came out, I did the same thing. I played the demo, and I was like, this is really cool. But then I just never tried it. I did see it's on PlayStation Plus. It's on. I don't know if it's on all of the tiers, but it's on. I can get the first Neo for free, but I've got like the max, whatever the fuck they call it.
I bought it fucking ages ago.
Yeah.
When it was on sale for like $12, so it's only
But on, I think it's on PlayStation Plus now as well. But I I haven't played a shooter on console in years, but because Deathloop is on Game Pass and stuff now, it's on everything now.
That was something that I wanted to bring up really quickly. Did you see how Microsoft changed their profile picture to be like orange for putting Deathloop on to Game Pass and everything like that? And the amount of people commenting on it being like, "Oh, another big company pushing their agenda." They didn't even know what it was for.
Oh, stop supporting all the orange people.
Yeah, Oompa Loompas, get out of it.
What the I don't pay Microsoft all this money to support Oompa fucking Loompas. No, but I downloaded it the beginning of the week, and I probably played it for like an hour. It's pretty fun. It's definitely arcane. It's definitely one of their games. Like, it reminds me a lot of Dishonored.
They did Dishonored, yeah.
It reminds me a lot of that.
I watched Northern Lion playing it for like a little bit, and it seemed, honestly, in my opinion, at first I was like, oh, I could always do like another first person. Seems really complicated, and I am not about thinking too hard in games. So,
honestly, because it was on Monday, I was playing it while you were streaming. And so I was playing it, and then it was like at the start of the game, it's like, oh, here's a gun, shoot this. Oh, here's an ability you can do. Here's a menu with all the... And I was just like, fuck, I don't care about any of this. So I skipped all of it because I was listening to you. And then the game's like, go. And I was like, oh, fuck. I was like, how do I do shit?
Yeah.
Then I picked up this thing, and I'm like, how do I fucking use it? There's a lot of different stuff going on.
There's a part of me that, like, I understand the idea of tutorials and stuff like that, but I'm also just like, honestly, I'm not playing this like every single. I feel like every single game, like that's just recently come out nowadays, especially, it's just like, cool. Here's like legit like 40 minutes at the beginning of the game of you like reading text to learn how to do something. They don't give you like any like freedom of movement, like. They have to set up all this exposition. Then they have to tell you, press R1 to swing sword. That sort of stuff. And I'm just like, just let me figure it out. But also, I understand because I get really frustrated when I don't know what I'm meant to do. So it's like, find a better way to tell me what I want.
Because that was my thought process as well. I'm like, this is fucking stupid. I don't know what I'm doing. And then I was like, well, to be fair, I skipped every single like hint pop-up that appeared. So it is my fault as well.
And if I do decide to read it, I'm just skimming it, like barely skimming it as well. I'm like, oh yeah, this got to be a little bit.
Press 7. I figured it out.
Yeah, press R1 to swing. Oh, yeah, sweet. I'll do that for the rest of the game. That's it. Speaking of pressing R1 to fucking swing something, I've been playing God of War.
Yep.
As a precursor to playing the second one when it comes out, but I fucking love that game, man. Like,
it's really good.
Yeah, I like even like the bits of it that aren't great. Like, there's a couple of bits in it that I've been playing at the moment, and I'm like, it's just kind of the same thing over and over again, which is like most games, right?
Yeah.
I'm still like, I just like that I can throw my axe and like leave, and then call it, and it takes like 20 seconds for it to show back up again. But it's I think there's a very like subtle charm to that game, and I think that if they carry on what they're doing with 2, which I imagine they will, I reckon it'll get Game of the Year. To be honest, I'd be impressed.
It's gonna be. It's weird because Elden Ring for me is still my game of the year.
Yep.
And if anything were to top that, it would be Ragnarok. Mm-hmm. But they're very different games, so it's
I think if Ragnarok wins it, like over Elden Ring, it'll be like story, like best game story or something along those lines.
And it's interesting because Ragnarok's only on PlayStation as well, so it's like I feel like Elden Ring has potential to win like overall game of the year or whatever on like everything.
I think I also mentioned this maybe last week or the following podcast where we talked about what we think game of the year would be, and it was we talked about how Elden Ring only had a completion rate of like 30% or something like that.
Yeah.
So naturally it does beg the question, how could a game that has less than half of its purchases completing it end up being game of the year, you know?
Well,
But
did we end up talking about like what the average completion rate for games is anyway?
I don't think we did. Let's have a look. What
Because
is
I feel like it's not that high. Because I remember when the whole Last of Us Part 2 controversy and stuff was like how heaps of people hated it came out. The completion rate for that game was like one of the highest ever for people like getting the final trophy.
Yeah.
So it's like
on CNN, it says here back in 2000. This is a 2011 article, so I can't really find. No, let's go to Reddit. Reddit should know most things. I've seen people die on that website, so I gather it must be telling the truth. Okay, since Steam began showing percentage of players completing an achievement, blah, 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 blah. Most games seem to start at around the 60 to 80% completion for the first story achievement. The rest have noped out before that. So it looks like it's between 60 to 80, but the other article that I'm seeing also talks about it. It's like 10%, 10-hour campaigns compared to kind of, early stage like PlayStation games where it was like 20 to 30 hours. Like a shorter campaign is naturally going to be a little bit faster to beat the game, right? So, yeah.
Because I've just found an article as well that says, did you know that only 35% of people actually play games through to their conclusions?
This is going to be my recommendation, but it's relevant now. I'm going to quickly bring it up. Have you watched any of Psych of Play?
Doesn't sound familiar.
So he studied psychology, but he does a lot of videos around like people around video games. His channel name is Daryl Talks Games.
Yep. Just found it.
And he's done a video not recently. It's one of his earlier ones. I'll see if I can find it. Some really interesting. Like he's has some great video essays. But he's the one who talks. He's talked about a game, the idea of taking the L, essentially. So when you're playing like a game like Elden Ring or like, any kind of Souls game, really, where you get super close to beating the boss in the first run and then you die, and you're like, damn. And then after that, you're just bashing your head against the wall and you never really get that close again. He talks about like taking the L in that situation. But he talks a lot. I'll need to find...
I think I found it. Are you a preventer or a promoter? Well,
that one.
The thumbnail is taking the L. So.
Yes. There you go. I can't remember what one it is, what video it is. But he talks about people choosing to not like going out of their way to not complete video games. It might actually be that video. Need for Closure. Maybe it's that one. It might be that one. In either way, he talks a lot about how people will go out of their way to not complete games based on the fact that like they don't want it to end. So there's also that. Like me, for example, I don't have the final like achievement for beating Red Dead Redemption 2. Like I got to the bit where you... Spoiler alert.
Did you never finish it?
Redemption 2. I got to the point where you play as John.
And then you stopped?
At the farm, and then I stopped. I stopped playing.
Oh my god.
Yeah, I know. And since then,
like one of the best games ever.
Yeah,
and you didn't finish it. You don't even have far to go.
Yeah, I know. It's like the epilogue, basically.
Yeah.
But I don't know what it was. There was just some part of me that just was like, I don't want to continue this anymore. Like,
Yes.
not that I don't want to complete it, but I don't want it to end.
Yep.
And I think
makes
that's
sense.
that's the thought process that I have. So there are a lot. I feel like I have a few games like that. I can't name them off the top of my head, but Red Dead Redemption 2 is the one that I remember the most.
Mm-hmm.
Also, sometimes like my little achievement hunter brain is like, oh, I should do all of this before I beat the game, and then I get bored because I'm like, ugh, collectathons fucking suck, like that sort of stuff. Is that Megan?
Mm.
Hello.
She went for a piss.
Oh, she's doing the best.
Yes, you.
But yeah, the idea around like the average completion rate, it also comes down to, I guess, whether or not someone wants to actually complete it, or not.
There's probably a stat for it as well on like how many people like just start a game.
Oh yeah, 100%. Like,
You've started a lot of games and then never finished. I can name one. Wait, can you even finish Animal Crossing?
No.
It is so it's weird. There's an intention around like you get to a certain point and that's the quote unquote end game.
Right.
But you can continue playing it, kind of like how with Stardew Valley you have like your aim is to finish year 2, and then once you finish year 2, your grandfather is like, "Hello, you did this well," and that's the end of it. But you can continue playing after that.
Right.
So
Okay.
it's one of those games where there is an end, but once it ends, you just still continue playing as
Gotcha.
normal. Yeah. It's interesting. I've talked a lot about that sort of like taking that L. I talked a lot about it when I was playing through Dark Souls 2 because it was a lot of that. I was taking a lot of L's, but it's interesting. There's some parts of it that I understand, and then there are some parts that I'm like, this is why. Tell me why though. Why don't I want to finish it? Because I don't want this to be. Because I know like Red Dead's amazing. The story is fantastic. Like I remember watching Donkey's video about it, and I completely disagreed with him, but I understood where he was coming from because he talked a lot about like all of the missions are get on a horse, ride with this person, talk to this person, shoot out, ride your horse back home, and that's the end of it. But it's like there's so much more to it than that. It's like, what are you actually kind of?
It's like you could base in like you could bring any game down to its most base level and be like, this is the game.
Exactly.
So it's like again, Donkey's funny. He makes me laugh.
Yes.
I disagree with a lot of his opinions, but it doesn't change what I think of him as like a content creator.
Yeah, 100%.
Like you can disagree with people.
Look at all of us.
Exactly.
You know, we're
can disagree with people. You don't have to fucking hate them for it.
Yeah. But yeah, I don't know. It just seems it's interesting to me that that's the case, but who knows at this point, right?
It's like Death Stranding. Like I think he might have changed his opinion now, but when he first put out his review of Death Stranding, he fucking hated it.
Well,
and
he did like another video where he's like, I've changed my mind.
That's why I think I said that, is because I remember him saying, never mind, like it's actually good.
Yeah. I think that was a lot of people's opinion. And to be honest, like for someone who's such a massive part of like the gaming culture and the like on the internet, Donkey, like he's almost the equivalent to like an Anthony Fantano.
And it's
for music,
it's bad that it's like that as well, because I think a lot of people don't realize when he's taking the piss.
Yeah.
Or when
because he doesn't change the way that he talks.
And his editing is always like very suggestive. Like he always edits stuff where it's like, this is what the game's like, but it's nothing like that. And I think a lot of people don't realize that. So it's like, because I know because a lot of the stuff I'll watch of him is like games I've played. So I'll know like when he says something, he's being super exaggerating, and it's like, it's not actually like that. But the way he edits it makes it seem like it's always like that.
because he doesn't like, he specifically has said I do not like Octopath Traveler, and I fucking love that game. I like it, just it looks amazing, and the story, I feel like if I had grown up at this, like, how do I word this? So, Final Fantasy VII, everyone's kind of like, oh, this is like, you can actually tell a proper narrative with a video game now. Like, that's kind of what this game is.
Yeah.
That felt the same for me when I was playing Octopath, and I feel like a lot of younger people are going to play that game for the first time and be like, oh, this is my Final Fantasy VII, essentially. So I do not agree with him on that one. But the way that he talks about stuff and the way that he kind of calls a lot of shit out, I understand, but I still don't agree with his opinion. Yeah.
And that's the best way to do it.
Yeah.
It's funny how he's black, though, right?
It's crazy. It's crazy how he's actually black, and when when he actually shows up on video, that's a stunt double.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
Cool.
I feel like we also sort of touched on how your week's been, but did you have anything else you wanted to add?
No, outside of playing Dark Souls and playing
Sick.
God of War.
Well, you had something you wanted. We'll start off with what you wanted to discuss, if you remember from earlier this week when you messaged me about Gen Z and millennials.
Oh, yeah. This week has fried me. I'm so glad that we have a long weekend. Shout out.
R.I.P.
R.I.P.
This one's for you. I'm gonna pour some out.
Yeah, I'm gonna pour some out
into my mouth hole.
Yeah. So I was talking to Joe about this.
Huh?
But we were talking about how.
Do you do that every time you say his name around him?
Not around him. Every time I mention him to other people, though, which is surprisingly more often than I realized, because I do it as like a reaction now. So it's like every time I say Joe, I do the.
Or hear anyone say Joe?
Yeah. We were talking about how like he sent me a TikTok, and it was of like a millennial being like, "Okay, guys, I just did this thing. Look, I think I won today." You know, that kind of fucking early internet meme-y shit that just didn't like. Yeah, I don't know. It's like I feel like it's the latest stage of like the millennial generation, who like grew up with the internet but didn't evolve with it, if that makes sense. And then there's the generation that's just like that kind of hipstery, like, oh, don't talk to me until I've had my morning coffee, which is low key. I understand, I get it. that's probably where I sit. But we were talking a lot. Like, it basically boils down to like 4 groups of people in the millennial thing. It's those haha pupper, yeah. Me when I have when I did a thing, you know, that stuff. Then the kind of like they didn't really. I feel like the next one with the coffee side of things is they didn't really grow up with the internet, but they grew into the internet, I guess is probably the best way of putting it. Then there's the group who were like on the cusp of going into like Gen Z. And so they're like just trying to grasp on to like the straws of figuring out what their actual identity is.
Yeah.
And then there's us. The people who watch people die on the internet at a very, very young age to meld their brain into what it is now. And I think we might be the best ones. I think the main reason that I kind of brought this up with you was mostly because I don't know about you, but I can keep up with memes pretty heavily. Like when I see a new meme, I'm like, okay, yeah, I get it. Let's see the shelf life on this one, and it's usually like a couple of weeks. But like you have to be like really specific. Like the have you got much of the corn kid on TikTok?
Nah, well, my TikTok algorithm's all fucked. Like, I only get people in New Zealand now. So it's like
Okay.
every now and then I'll get someone from America, and I'll like try and force the algorithm to give me more of that by just rewatching it over and over again. But I still just constantly get New Zealanders and fucking cars. Like, I don't know how boy races and shit infiltrated my TikTok, but I keep getting
so sick.
I keep getting people doing
so
like
sick.
Rakis and donuts and shit.
Yeah.
I'm like, I genuinely don't care. And the
When
whole the not interested thing on TikTok doesn't do shit.
It doesn't do anything.
Like,
yeah.
I keep getting this chick. Every third TikTok is the same lady, and I'm like, not interested. Not interested. So I've had to literally go into people's profiles and just block them.
Block them. Yeah, I've been doing that as well. Sometimes the algorithm, and I don't know why it does it, will push a video with like 1 like, and it's a literal child.
Yeah, I've gotten that too.
And I'm just like, block instantly. I don't. Why the fuck would I want that on my? I don't want to look at that.
In Auckland high schools, I get so many Auckland high schools.
It's weird, right? I get a lot of that too. So I just instant block them too. But it's funny because a lot of them, because they post like literally every single thing like that they film, they start getting a lot of they gain traction, and as a result they're able to go live. And there's a lot of times when they go live at school, and like you're just like, what the fuck are you doing? And one time Joe went on there. He scrolls through like the live chat quite a bit, and he runs into like the mongrel mob and like Black Power and all that sort of shit, and like comments on their stuff and makes fun of them. But every single time he runs into like a kids one, he'll like be like, "Aren't you meant to be at school? Like, what? How? Why? What are you doing?" But back to kind of the point at hand. Like, I can see. I feel like I've been able to see when a meme will die.
Yeah.
Really quickly. And I think that's something that like the younger generation have figured out pretty quickly as well. It's a lot of like very, and I mean, admittedly, we had Vine in our like adolescent, is that the right? Late teenage years. So like that short, quick, fast content was kind of what we were consuming in terms of that. But they've had TikTok, and that is like their memes essentially. So usually I can see a lot of...
You know, it's more than their memes though. Like, I saw an article the other day that said 1 in 4 Gen Z people are using TikTok like Google. Like, they're going into TikTok and searching questions.
What?
1 in 4.
Fuck, that's... But like, okay, so like, if you look at that as like a... It's like, oh my god, I can't believe they're not using Google. But instead, they're finding like... If I go onto TikTok right now and I need to find the answer for something, you can... If someone can give me the answer in a video that's 10 seconds long, then I will take that over having to read something, right? Like...
But that's like, the thing is, you don't know if it's the actual answer though.
Yeah.
And that's the big problem, is like, kids are typing in questions into TikTok. They'll find a video where someone's like, President Obama was Chinese, and then they're like, "Oh my god!"
Bleach heals,
and it's a real thing. Like, it's fucked. And then I saw like I saw it on Reddit, and this guy commented like, "If only there was an internet encyclopedia that held all knowledge that we could quickly access."
Actually,
and then,
if only that did exist. Why doesn't that exist? I just use TikTok to find my information.
But then all these people were talking about how the kids these days, because like forever, I don't know what it was like well, it would have been the same. Like at uni, you get told not to use Wikipedia because anyone can edit it.
Yeah.
And so that mentality has sort of been passed down to these kids where they're like, we don't use Wikipedia. Like, it doesn't give you what you want.
Which is so fucking stupid, because that's absolutely not the case. But, you know.
Welcome in, Scott. So much drama.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's like TikTok. Meme shelf life is an interesting thing. I think, if anything, because of how big TikTok is, memes don't last as long. Anywhere near as long as they used to.
And often the memes now are like a sound, and after you hear a sound a certain amount of times, you're like, man, this is getting really fucking annoying really quick. So you're gonna start like, it's like ruining your favorite song
Mm.
You know, like you listen to it over and over again, and you're just like, I don't like the song anymore, and you get rid of it. But it's I think bouncing off of the meme stuff and all of that, I think there's a generation that kind of was able to grasp onto stuff, understand the way that everything worked, and it was the the generation that got ruined by the internet really early.
I want to go back to this. Do you remember what website you went to?
Yeah, it was eFucked.
Okay.
Yeah,
so
eFucked and LiveLeak.
Right.
Yeah.
So I specifically remember. So I think it was either on like a lunch break or PE or something at high school, where we were sitting outside, and one of my mates, his older brother was like a couple years older than us, and he came and sat down, and he's like, I specifically remember this. He came over, he's like, yo, you guys want to see something crazy? And then he showed us, I can't remember how he showed it to us because he wouldn't have had like a smartphone or anything.
Yeah.
But he showed us Two Girls, One Cup.
Yeah.
And we were both like, what the fuck? And then like there's this website. I think it's still a thing. I feel like I went there a few months ago just to see what was there. But it was nothingtoxic.com.
Yeah. Yeah.
And,
I also remember that. Yeah.
And then I went to my mate's place, and we went there, and we just started watching all these fucked up, like, I remember beheadings and like all this stuff, and we were just like, oh, like, you can watch this on the internet? That's crazy. Yeah. And like ever since then, it like, you're so right in that it has jaded a whole generation of people to just not give a fuck. Because I was like 15, maybe 14.
And I was even younger than that.
Well, yeah, and just watching people get their heads cut off, and I'm like, this is crack up. Like, this is funny.
So with that, you've kind of outed the video that you watched that sent you down that
spot. 100%. It was Two Girls, One Cup.
Yeah. So I knew of Two Girls, One Cup from a description from people, but I was like 12 when that video started like floating around.
Well, yeah, because you would have. How old are you now?
I'm 27.
Yeah, so that makes sense because you're 3 years younger than me. So yeah, I would have been around 15.
Yeah. So when I watched Two Girls, One Cup, it was after watching people actually die.
Yeah.
So one of the I distinctly remember watching this at Joe's place, but it was Joe's brother that showed us.
Yeah, it's always an older brother.
Yeah, and it was, I think it was, Two Guys, One Hammer, or
yep.
Yeah, so there was a lot of. I
think it's three guys, one hammer.
3 guys, one hammer. So there was a lot of videos where it was like X amount. One.
Just as an FYI for anyone listening or watching right now that has not heard of or seen 3 Guys, One Hammer, don't watch it.
So I can tell you right now that it's a genuinely horrible thing to watch. Even worse when you're 12 years old and your brain can't comprehend what's going on.
No, but that's why you watch it, because you don't get it. Like, you don't fully grasp what's happening.
We started going down this fucking rabbit hole, right? And the one that jarred me the most, and I think it's definitely not fake. It's definitely not fake.
That video is ingrained into my mind. I don't know if it's fake.
There is an article. Those guys went they're in like Russia.
They went to prison.
Murder spree. Yeah, they went on a full-on murder spree. They would like lure like homeless people out. Scott, if you need it to be fake for you to maintain like
a certain degree of sanity,
then that's fine. But I can promise you it's not. But I think the one that really got me, and I'm going to go into a little bit of detail around this because I need to explain it, was the interrogation room suicide. Goatsy fucking...
Goatsy's another one.
There's a part of me that... You know how I send shirtless old men to people to, like, bully them? Like famous, like... Oh, not famous, but, like,
they didn't just smash their bits. It was... a full-on
that's a I think you're thinking of the Pain Olympics, dude.
I remember that, but no, it's not that. They murdered someone with a hammer.
Yeah.
These 2 guys killed a man with a hammer.
Yeah. But there's a video of a guy who gets pulled over. I think it's like he had like a broken tail light in the States or something. So they pulled him over and he refused to give over ID. So they had to take him in to take his print so they could see if they can find out who he was. And throughout the entire thing, he was cooperating except for that. Like he wasn't giving his ID. So they parked up his car, did all that sort of thing. And then in the interrogation room, he's sitting in there and you just see him like heavy breathing because you can hear him because it's an interrogation room and they're filming in there. You can hear him and he just reaches into like the back of his pants and just grabs out a revolver and just blows his like legit like just in there and just comes out the back. And the cops run in and like, you didn't check him? What the fuck? Like, and it turns out that the dude had like just a ridiculous amount of CP in his car. And that's why he was like, if I don't die now, then I'm fucked.
Yeah.
Like, but that I remember very much jaded me. I was like, holy moly! But one of the interesting things with the way that the internet works is, there are the people who went deep into this stuff.
Don't watch it, Scott. Do not watch it.
Yeah, don't watch it. I'm gonna.
Any of the stuff we talk about.
Yeah, any of I want.
I don't even think I would watch it again.
I'm not gonna watch it again. I seeing stuff like that now by accident is the only way that I'll ever watch it, and that's kind of what I was getting to when Infinity War came out or Endgame came out. There was like a GIF going around where it was like a hot, sexy lady doing the news and then getting ready to show her tatas, and then it skips to Iron Man snapping his fingers and dying, and it was like people like spoiling it, and then
I was expecting you to say cutting to like her getting ripped open or something.
And then there was another one that floated around at the same time with the same starting of that GIF. And then it's like a cut to, and it's a dude fucking blowing his brains out with a shotgun.
Right.
And I like legit. So children would have seen that, because naturally.
Well, there was a TikTok of a guy who killed himself, like on TikTok, that went around.
That's right, and it took like ages for it to get taken down.
Way too long.
Yeah,
way too long.
Yeah. But yeah. So like I feel like. There was the group of people like us who watched it.
I rephrase it from killed himself to unalived. Sorry, Twitch.
Stopped living.
Stopped
living? I feel like that's way worse. Unalive.
Unalive, we'll say.
Yeah. But I feel like there was a group of people also, so like a subgenre of the people who went into that, who went really deep into it and were like really obsessed. So I can't. I'm frozen.
I like how it looked like you were waving goodbye.
So
and then you froze.
I'm gonna go watch some videos. So I'm putting up the number 4, and I can gather you guys will know who I'm talking about. Those people end up kind of going a little bit too deep into it,
yeah.
and it really ruins.
Are we not allowed to say where they're from? Is that...
I
feel like we could say the website.
Yeah, I mean, 4chan.
We could say 4chan. 4chan's not
I mean,
bad.
I literally just talked about a dude unaliving himself in an interrogation room.
Uninstall the living.exe. I like that. I like that a lot.
That's a good way of putting it. So yeah, I think with that came a whole lot of like subgenres of people. We, the lucky few, watched just enough of it to not ruin our lives, but enough of it to know that it's like we'll never be the same. Like it altered the way that our brains worked forever. Like, did you ever watch? It must have been the 2012 Olympics, I think. Winter Olympics, sorry, and it was like that bobsledder. Did you watch that video? They played it on the news.
I don't know if I watched it. I remember what you're talking about, but I don't.
This bobsled is fucking gunny. He's literally going like 160 kilometers an hour in a fucking what are they? I don't even know what it's made out of. Like a carbon fiber, maybe.
It's
like
nothing crazy. Yeah,
no, it's like super light, and he just flings out of the slide that they're in, and just slams straight into this pole at 160 kilometers an hour. And they played it like multiple times on the news. And Mum was like, and I was like,
Oh, look, it's
this
pretty good ragdoll.
like, the ragdoll physics on this are excellent. No, we shouldn't be fucking. Why are we joking about that? But like it's stuff like that, that are really like will really fuck you up.
I've got
And
so many of those videos. Like I feel like they must have been the first ones that I watched, like ingrained in my memory. There's like the classic ones, like Two Girls, One Cup, and like those ones aren't gory or anything. It's just fucked.
It's
and
just gross.
There's like
That
Mr. Hands. Like,
okay, so Mr. Hands was completely
I got at uni in 2011 at uni. There were these chicks that we were studying with at the halls, and then like at the uni residence, there's like the downstairs bit where there's these huge tables, and that's where everyone would go to like hang out or study. And we were studying. I'm like, oh, I'm just gonna go up to my room and get a drink, and then I was like, oh, you guys should watch this video. It's fucking funny. And then I was like, you should search Mr. Hands. And then they searched it. And then they're like, oh, is it got something to do with a horse? I'm like, yeah, that's the one. Just start playing it and I'll come back. And then as I was walking to the elevator, I just remember them going, ah! And I was just like, this is fucking cracker. It's like, did you like it?
So I can't remember the dude's name on YouTube. I never subscribed to him, but one day before work, while I was still working in service, I was waiting for my bus, and I just like chuck on a YouTube video, and this guy talks about like internet, like old internet celebrities and like where they're at. So I think he's done a video on the Two Girls, One Cup girls.
This stuff, just FYI, Scott, this stuff was before YouTube was even a thing.
Yeah. It was like early 2000s. But he did a video on the guy who did One Guy, One Jar. And there was like that rumor going around where he died from that. And what had actually happened, he goes into a big amount of detail around it, but I'll just give you the cliff notes. Essentially, the guy shattered the jar. He like had done it multiple times, and it was fine. But usually, he'd fill it with water, and that would alleviate that pressure. And he didn't fill it with water because he had work, so he wanted to do it nice and quickly. And when it shattered, he fished out all of the glass, filled his
yes
with gorse, and went to work. Kept cleaning it, kept doing it. Ended up fine. Healed itself nice and easy. No issues. And the rumor started that he had died during that. But what had actually happened was he just continued doing it. And turns out that he was married with 2 children, and that kind of came out and everything like that. But one of the funniest fucking things about it was he started uploading on standard sites for that sort of stuff, and because it wasn't shattering inside him. And people were like, hey, be careful. You don't want to end up like this guy. And he comments, like replies to the comment, I am that guy.
I know what I'm doing.
Fuck the internet, man. We're out here fucking grinding. Anyway, sometimes Facebook will like, I'll like the rare moments that I go on Facebook, I'll like scroll through videos. Often like I've liked like a page where it's like best fights, and it's usually like that girl getting hit in the head with a hammer. Not a hammer, sorry, with a spade. Like
yeah,
she throws the shovel at her.
Yeah.
And like as you scroll through, I've had situations where I've been like scrolling through Facebook, right, like actual Facebook, and I just like I'm like, oh yeah, okay, next video, and then I just see this one of this dude being like, ah, and then the front of his head like comes out, and there's this dude who's just shot him in the back of the head, like insane. Fucking the internet is crazy. 2 jars. I'm not doing that. That is you couldn't pay me enough money, honestly.
Wow.
Unless.
But no, I
yeah.
think this is a very interesting topic because when you brought it up to me earlier this week, I was like, I 100% agree
Yeah.
in that there is a group of people who are like us, who grew up and watched those videos, who have become incredibly jaded to whatever they see on the internet. And whether or not that's a good thing is, well, I mean, no, it's not a good thing, but whether or not everyone who did watch those videos is in the same sort of space that we are in is unknown. Like whether they're all fucking meme lords or they like just gave up on the internet at a certain point or something like that. But
and I think it's I oh no, wait, you finish that because we might be going down the same road.
No, you go.
I was just thinking that like when it comes to that sort of stuff, it's so easy to just like ignore it, you know? Like you see it and you're just like, you know. I was 12, I watched a man unalive himself in an interrogation room. So it's like it's also desensitized a lot of like what's going on just in the world. You know? Like we're currently I have seen videos of like what's going on in like the Ukraine and Russia and stuff like that, and like I'm just like, that's crazy. But I've like there is no doubt in my mind that I've watched people die. Just
easily.
You know? And one of the biggest ones for me, or one of the like craziest ones, is like the amount of like that sort of stuff that just gets thrown onto like the news.
Yep.
Like readily available just on the news. I don't know. Like I would never want my kids to go through that. But also I am who I am because of it. You know?
Yeah.
It's weird.
And I think it's one of those things where I wouldn't recommend, like what we've just said to Scott, like I wouldn't recommend anyone watch them. Especially if you didn't watch it when you were a kid.
When you were younger,
Because I think there's a certain level of not understanding things you have when you're a kid that makes it a bit easier to watch that stuff.
Your brain's less malleable,
and you don't have
and
you don't have as much life experience. So like at this point in my life, I don't think I would watch one of those things by choice. Like you said, they might randomly pop up while I'm scrolling through something, and it's not gonna affect me as much as some other people. But it doesn't mean I'm out there like trawling the internet for people getting killed.
Hitting videos, good.
Whether or not that suppressing things in you is a good thing is also probably interesting to think about.
Yeah.
Because it's definitely changed how I think about things. Because like what you were saying about Ukraine and stuff, when stuff like that happens, like I don't really feel anything. And maybe that's because I'm fucked. Because I watched people die when I was 14.
I know people that are like, oh my god. Like, it's like an actual shock to them seeing, like, those kinds of, like, just what's happening with like, in the Ukraine and stuff like that. They're, like, watching those videos like, oh my, this is the worst thing I've ever seen in my entire life.
Yeah.
And I'm like, holy, if this is the worst, you were a very sheltered child. Or
it's like, I remember watching 9/11 when I was 9. Like, I remember that on TV.
I remember watching it as well, and I would have been 5 probably. Oh no, I would have been like 7, I think.
What?
7 or 6? 9/11 was in 2001, right?
Yep.
I was born in 94, so I would have been.
Well, yeah, you would have been 6 because I was 9.
Oh yeah, so I would. Yes.
One.
Nice.
But yes, like you said, Scott, it's very different when we don't know anyone there.
Yeah. And I recall watching that on TV because I don't remember when it would have happened on our side of things in terms of
it happened overnight for us. So it was like a thing where I was looking this up the other day because obviously it's a long time ago and we were kids, so it's hard to like the memories you have of it may not actually be correct. Yeah. But it happened overnight because it was a thing where New Zealand woke up in the morning and it had already happened.
Okay. So I recall watching the news that night.
Yeah.
So I distinctly remember because New Zealand basically hit like a standstill, and it was like 12 hours of non-stop like footage, and
It was just always like
discussion
constantly
around
on.
it.
Yeah.
And I distinctly remember, and I know this sounds horrible, but remember I was 6. I distinctly remember being like, "Why
This
the
is
fuck?
boring. I don't want to watch this."
Why have they turned off The Simpsons? Why is The Simpsons not on at the moment?" Because it was like 5, right? So usually
The news, yeah, later on, yeah.
yeah. I was like, the news is meant to be later. What's going on? And Mum was like, "This is I think she tried to explain it to me, like in a way that I would understand what was going on. But like, I just couldn't. Like, at 6, I couldn't fathom what was happening.
You're just like, where the fuck is Bart and Maggie?
Yeah, like legit. I was just like, I don't care. Like in my brain, I was like, the only thing I know is right now The Simpsons should be on, and it's not. And there's something going on there, and someone needs to fix it, like now. Otherwise, I'm gonna blow up.
Hey. I was about to say, be careful what you say.
But I think there was a lot going on in that kind of time. Interesting.
I don't think we need to hang on to 9/11 too much.
Yeah. I tread very lightly, like memes aside, I tread very lightly with that sort of
I
stuff.
think from like popular culture and everything over the last 10 years or so, it has become more. Again, I'm treading super carefully on what I say. It's become more. I'll say acceptable. That may not be the right word, but it's become more. It's a bit easier to talk about. It has been over 20 years,
and it has been due to the amount of time, right? That's gone
and
through since then.
people like I've seen plenty of Americans who are comfortable joking about it and stuff now. Which, whether or not you agree with that, is an entirely different thing.
Mm-hmm.
But obviously, it was a terrible thing, and a lot of people died. But
I think also, and I know this is going to sound. I'm again. I don't think I'm need to tread too lightly with this, but I think as a face on the internet now, so not a big one, but one nonetheless. You know. I also need to be very aware of what I'm saying and what I'm doing, because everything can be taken out of context. And as a result of that,
especially this is going to be on YouTube for who knows how long.
But like the thing is we're very. I think we need.
We understand.
We understand that, and we want to make sure that like any joke that is made is at the expense of like it's not at the expense of anyone who was directly involved with it. Because we haven't made a joke around that, like really.
And I don't know about you. I don't know anyone who knows anyone, so
I only know.
I don't have any real connection to it.
I only know one of my mates. He was in New York when it happened, but he was like, I think he was probably like 9 or 10, and he would have been on the in Brooklyn or something like that, like one of those areas that weren't. Wait, where were the Twin Towers? He wasn't
like
close
in
enough.
In the middle of the city.
Yeah, that he wasn't close enough that any drop would have affected him. In any way, shape, or form. But yeah,
Let's move on to the next thing.
Yeah. Hey, should we talk about weird transition? But should we talk about this video that you
yeah, we can talk about the video.
Cool. All right.
So,
all right, everyone, forget about the
whoa. Okay.
40 minutes of what we. Don't forget, you guys. Promise you wouldn't forget. But the last 40 minutes. What?
You guys promised you would never forget about that day. Why are we forgetting about it? Come on, guys. Never forget. It's like saying forget about World War II.
We're cleansing the palate. Have a sip of coffee. Cleanse the palate. We're gonna start a new thing. We're gonna talk about a new thing.
I'm just gonna get into it now.
Yeah.
So
Before I lay some eggs that I won't be able to look after.
if anyone was here for last week's episode or has watched the episode on YouTube, one of my recommendations that we do every episode was a video. Let me bring it up so I can give his channel a shout out. Why I haven't played Hades. So the video is by a YouTube channel by the name of Lamb Hoot. I'm gonna get a link for it. Sorry, it's playing. I'll just put a link in the chat for anyone who might want to watch it. Which is 2.5 hours long, or just shy of. But it is something I would recommend everyone watches when you've got a chance, especially people who are into gaming and stuff. Basically, at its core, the video is from a guy who is of Greek heritage, and he does a big video essay on why he is not impressed or happy with how Greek culture and history is represented in media, specifically ancient Greece mythology. And he ties it all into Hades. I don't think he necessarily needed to even tie it to Hades, but his channel seems to be very gaming related, so that makes sense as to why he did it. But I think even without even talking about or focusing on Hades so much, the video would have made just as much of an impact. But yeah, he talks about how, and I had never really thought about it until I watched it. He talks about how the Greek mythology and stuff and movies and games and everything is very whitewashed and always sort of has been, and how no one in Hades specifically even acts Greek or looks Greek. And he talks about a lot of other games, like the most recent, or the older God of Wars, I should say, as well as movies like Clash of the Titans and stuff, where he shows like Liam Neeson as Zeus and all this other stuff. But it's a very interesting watch. It helped give me more perspective on it, and it was interesting for me because I still haven't finished it, but while I was in Rara, I took a book with me. I took Mythos, Stephen Fry's book on ancient Greek mythology, and while reading it, I had pictured all of the gods as I have seen them in media, which is just white people. And so watching that video gave me a different sort of understanding and perspective on it. But that's a bit of a taste of what the video is about. I would definitely recommend watching it if you got time.
I also, with that being said, Vic did mention it's like 2.5 hours almost. I watched it in increments, and I believe you did as well. And it still makes sense. You don't have to watch it all in full. He's also put chapters in, or like things in, so you can stop at certain points to.
And they do like end as well. Like the chapters end, so you've got time to be like, okay, I'll pick it up tomorrow or whatever.
Yeah. But yeah. So with that being said, what do we think? How do we feel?
I really enjoyed it. I agree with majority of his points. I definitely see where he's coming from, and it was interesting because the main thing for me was like, obviously I'd never thought about that sort of stuff before, and the way I thought of it was like, if someone were to make a game or movie or whatever it may be about like the Maori gods, and then they were to make all of them white, or they were to make them all mixed race and stuff, it wouldn't go down well, basically. No. And the biggest thing for me was how he talked about it. He talks about it in the video specifically with Hades, about how gaming is in this point over the last few years where they're trying to be more diverse and they're trying to be more inclusive. And Supergiant tried to do that with Hades by making the gods look different, of different cultures and ethnicities and stuff. But at the end of the day, they're all voiced by white people.
Yeah.
So it's like, is it truly being diverse if you've still got a white person voicing a character who's meant to be of Asian descent or whatever.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. I agree. I agree. I think there's once he started pointing it out, I really started to look at the bigger picture because being Māori is a if the Māori representation in films, in big films, I would say, uh, doesn't happen often. But when it does, they market them as this warrior race, like these people that were savages. They would, go to war against each other. And one of the people, and I mentioned this at the end of our last podcast, but we had to cut it just to save
on
face and all
time.
that.
Oh,
Yeah.
and to save it for today.
Yeah. And I think Jason Momoa did a whole lot of damage with the way that he portrayed the Māori people in Aquaman. I think he did a really poor job of it because he marketed them as this warrior race, and and they were very strong and proud people, but they weren't savages. They were doing what they had to do to survive, which is a whole nother can of worms. But when he talked about specifically, and this was something that I was super interested in, and I didn't even think about for a second until he started talking about it. But when he started talking about Dionysus and the mythos behind him, that was I was like, oh, they
They
did
fucked
fucking,
up. They fucked
yeah,
up.
they made a big mistake with that one, and the the issue with needing everything to be inclusive and diverse without having the people who are in those groups being involved, it like hindsight being 2020 is really fucked up. Like it's weird that they would do that. And then he talked about one specific one that really I was like, oh, actually that's true. Was Second Son when he talked about
Yeah.
Maximus Second Son.
Yeah.
I was like, oh fuck, uh-oh.
That was my exact reaction.
And I was like, and the worst thing about it is like I scrolled through a couple of the comments because I did want to see what other people thought about it. And a lot of people do agree with what Lamb Hoot is saying. There is one massive comment by someone called Hello. And he goes into a lot of detail talking about how he's like, I am Greek and I'm from Greece, and I must say I have some problems with this video. So it starts very clearly that he's like,
oh, it is a huge comment.
Yeah. And then he's like, I hope you address this later. And he goes into a lot of detail, around like, I get where you're coming from, but I'm also I don't agree with a lot of the sentiments that you're putting out there. But we need to I think in terms of this stuff, we all need to understand that this is from Lamb Hoot's perspective, not from anyone else's. And he prefaces that very, very quickly in the beginning of the video. He talks about it and when he talks about his parents dressing him up as a Dalmatian for Halloween or something like that. It's a very interesting comment, so I'd suggest reading that too after when it comes to that one. But then there are a lot of people like mentioning that like I didn't even think about the Dionysus thing, like that situation. I do want to say when it comes to his discussion, his small discussion around God of War, that there I can't speak on behalf of the Greek people. I can say for one that the the game director for God of War has no fucking clue what he's talking about during the first God of War games. But I think that is the I'm not sure, particularly when it comes to God of War, the remake of God of War. I kind of came to an understanding that Kratos isn't meant to be a normal Greek. Like he's not meant to be like that, and that is one through game design, but two through
I th-
his actions and storytelling.
one of the points Lamb who made was because he does say he hasn't played the God of War games or Hades.
Yeah.
But one of the points he made was around Kratos' skin being white, and there is a gameplay reason for why his skin is white.
Yeah.
So
He
stuff
was
like
cursed.
that, yeah.
Yeah.
He's white because the ashes of his wife and daughter are on him. So it's like
and prior to that,
he had olive skin.
he has olive skin. Yeah. I think I don't know enough about the Greek culture to really speak on this more than what outside of watching this video and kind of getting an understanding just from the education that he's given.
Mhm.
But it seemed to me like a lot of, particularly in the new God of War games, Kratos is a very reserved person based on what has happened previously, and the reason that he was like what he was because he wasn't like other Greeks.
It's
I mean,
weird
being
because,
yeah,
like, again, bringing it back to what we talked about earlier, you could bring it back all the way down to its base level where it's like they made Kratos as angry man. Like, that was it. He was just an angry fella.
Button, he swings,
He screams, he kills people. Like, that's it. And then in the 2018 one, he's more relaxed because of all the fucked up shit. He knows he's done all this fucked up shit and he's trying to be different. So yeah.
So playing through God of War right now, one of the first things that it's one of the he's got some very good quotes. Like he when he's talking to
I will say the new one is definitely a lot better written.
Yes, yeah. And he
acted. Christopher Judge does a great job.
Yes, he does. He does. There's a bit where during the I think it's like one of the first kind of during the first area, Atreus like acts up and does something stupid, and he goes, "I'm sorry." And he's like, "Don't be sorry, be better." And like that one quote is stemming from the 5 other games that he was in where he wasn't better. He was just the worst, and he's trying to be like a better person, but that doesn't inherently mean that he has to take on the Greek mannerisms, much like any other situation where when it comes to, let's say, I'll speak on the Moldy side of things as well. Like, I don't take on those mannerisms because it's not something that I've ever thought to do.
Yeah.
But there may be a point where something changes in my life where I do have to take on those mannerisms and I do have to respond in that way. So I don't know. There's that. He also talks about one of the most Greek things that you can do is share wine with your child. Like
he said that was like the most Greek thing.
The most Greek thing that he's done. Which leads me to believe, like, and I'm kind of maybe I'm grasping at straws here, but it does kind of seem like Kratos does know how to be Greek, like in that sense.
He is Greek.
Yeah,
he's from Sparta, so he is Greek.
Yeah. More so like it feels like if this were a real person, if this were a real scenario, etc., it doesn't feel like Kratos was never like that. But it kind of feels like he may have changed because of the war.
Yeah.
And the fact that he's also the son of a god.
And he's killed an entire pantheon of gods.
Yeah. So,
and his family.
Who knows?
And
Who knows?
hundreds of other people.
But yeah, Lamhoop makes some really, really very clear and good points. He also talks a lot about how for a game praised for its diversity, it's still very not Like it's not very
That
diverse.
that was the biggest thing, is when he does talk about Hades, I was just like, holy shit. Like,
Yeah.
they do all this work to make all the gods look different, but then in the end they're still voiced by generic straight white people. So it's like, what the fuck is the point?
Yeah.
And then when he ties it back to Infamous and how there's a Native American main character, but it's still just Troy Baker. Like, it's
Baker.
his
Fucking the
voice. He
whitest,
looks like Troy Baker,
most yeah.
but he's brown, so it's like just modern day blackface because they've used his face.
Maybe
but made
that's
him...
why they didn't do a second one. But
yeah.
it was. Yeah, he makes some really good points, and it was a lot to think about. It's not going to change my opinion on Hades.
No, it hasn't changed my opinion on Hades at all.
But it was something. It was a lot of food for thought, and a lot of eye-opening situations where I was like, actually, like, are you saying you're doing this to be diverse purely out of the fact that you want to label it as that, or is it something else? Because it wouldn't. I think that a lot of. I'm surprised that I haven't seen them. Although in saying that, I haven't scrolled all the way to the bottom. But my next theory was when he talks about being voiced by like all these white men and white women and shit like that. My first thought was, I bet if I go to the comments, there's going to be people being like, "Well, then name one Greek voice actor," that sort of thing. And that stuff there is not. That's not how you answer that question. Like that. Yeah. So I was a little bit worried that was going to cause a fight. I am curious, and it's it's a shame that YouTube's removed it, but I would like to see the like to dislike ratio on it.
Yeah.
To see what other people think. I think it'll be overwhelmingly positive because he actually makes very, very good points throughout it. But I also think that it's probably a little bit
because I think the thing I found is, as much as Ubisoft games, the Assassin's Creed games in particular, aren't things I've enjoyed lately, and it followed, like, Ubisoft has a very specific way of doing games lately, with like climbing towers to reveal more blah 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 blah.
Yeah.
The thing that they do well is like they actually have diversity and the appropriate level of a diversity when it comes to like main character voice actors. Like,
they also have an understanding of the culture that they're about to walk into. Like there's probably a reason why he doesn't talk about Odyssey. Yeah,
because like
Odyssey, and that's in Greece, right?
Yeah, and the voice actors for the main characters, like, they have Greek heritage, and the Assassin's Creed Origins guy, he doesn't have like Egyptian heritage, but he is a person of color, and it's the same for Assassin's Creed Unity. Like, the guy who voices Arno in that has like French heritage, so like they do. While some people might say it's not enough, like they definitely do more than most other people would do when it comes to casting voice actors for these different roles. And like, I'm not saying it's enough, and surely they could do more, but
there can always be more. I don't get me wrong, Troy Baker is great.
He's a great voice actor.
Very, very good voice actor. But if you're purely casting him because you just want that voice, that's not a good enough reason.
And I think it's kind of a tough spot to be in as a game developer, is like trying to find voice actors who are really good and at the same time diverse and meet your game's sort of needs. I'm sure there's plenty of voice actors out there who meet those needs.
100%,
it's just
100%,
getting someone with Troy Baker's name in your project will surely get more people interested in it.
The other issue with like Hades is Supergiant is so particular about because their sound design is one of their biggest selling points. Did you play Bastion?
I did, and I didn't like it.
So,
funnily enough, Hades is the only Supergiant game I've enjoyed out of all the other ones I've played.
I enjoyed Bastion, but I think I enjoyed the storytelling aspect of it above anything else. With the narrator being the big like leading as to what they're doing, like what's going on in the game. That made it very clear that their voice actors, what they wanted is what they needed was something very, very specific, and that as a result created a situation essentially where they were like, we have to have these kind of very powerful voice actors, and as a result, we're just going to cast the people that we know will be able to do that. Which, like I mentioned, is not good enough.
Yep.
I can almost guarantee there's a handful of Greek people, or even just that part of the world, like
Yep.
that area. They could have found just about anyone, like even one of the actors in like Greek films and stuff like that, or like an American Greek. I don't know. It just seems so weird that they didn't like do that. But again, it comes down to, I guess, it comes down to semantics, right?
The weirdest thing looking at it now is the fact that they've made all of the gods try and look from different nationalities, now knowing that none of them, well, I won't say none of them because I haven't looked at all of them, but a lot of them aren't actually diverse. So, and that's a big thing in this day and age we live in, is diversity. And it's good. It's definitely good to be more diverse. But when you have developers, I was going to say faking diversity. I don't know if faking is the right word, but
I think it's a relevant way of wording things.
Yeah, I was going to say like false diversity. When you do like stuff like that, it seems like now knowing it seems like there was no real point in doing it, and you probably would have been better off just making them all white. But yeah, with that video, like, again, I do recommend it. I don't think if you're going to watch that video, I don't think you should use that as your one and only viewpoint on the whole situation. Like Marcus said, there is a big comment there from someone else who says they have Greek heritage, which I will read after the podcast, because it's always good with anything to have multiple perspectives on it, and to formulate your own opinion. But
in the YouTube version of this as well, we'll chuck a link to Lamhote's channel and to that video.
Yeah, I'll put it in
there
the
as well, just so that
description.
you guys can see.
So click that link down below.
And below, all of our socials are there as well. V sponsor us. If we get a V sponsor, we'll chuck it in every single fucking. Hold on, let's see if I can get this light kind of. Fuck it. We'll just chuck that into like this. Oh, my ring light's being too bright.
I don't have autofocus on, so.
But yeah, that's cool. Should we jump on to the last little bit of the potty?
The last thing we're going to talk about, which will probably take us all the way, is for anyone who isn't aware, there's been a huge amount of drama with Twitch over the last week. I can't remember exactly where it started. Ludwig made a video which summarized everything really well, and I watched it the other day, but I can't find it anymore. But there's all sorts of stuff going on with big streamers and SA allegations and all this other stuff going on, and it all sort of, the drama week sort of started where Ludwig and Cutie Cinderella, his partner, they do this thing. I don't know how long they've done it, but over the last few years they do a thing called Shit Camp, where they invite other big streamers from Twitch and I think YouTube as well to go and do random shit with them. They invited XQC and Soda Poppin', and then Soda Popping didn't go, and he supposedly told Cutie Cinderella that he didn't want to go because he's a WoW streamer and the Wrath of the Lich King remake or whatever it is came out at the same time, so he was going to be playing that, which supposedly was fine with everyone. Soda Poppin'?
Oh, okay. Yeah.
So he wasn't going to go to shit camp because he was going to stream WoW instead, which he supposedly told Cutie Cinderella and stuff. So they knew about it, and then XQC found out about that while he was streaming or something, and so on the day the event was supposed to happen, XQC said he wasn't going to go, and he didn't tell anyone before that. And apparently he told everyone by posting a message in his own stream chat while he was offline. Like, he just put a message into his own offline chat that he wasn't going to go on the day that it was supposed to happen. And so this kicked off a big thing where they were expecting him to come, and obviously it's XQC, he's the biggest streamer on Twitch, so
he's also a fucking idiot.
He's a bit of an idiot. And having him go would have been good for viewership, and they were all expecting him to go, but he didn't end up going. And then after that, some more shit happened where XQC and his partner Adept, who she also streams, they broke up, and they had this really messy and very public breakup while XQC was, I think they were both streaming at the time, where they had like an argument in Discord on stream, which was very messy and very public. So that happened. And then the SA allegations and stuff happened, and gambling on Twitch has been a big conversation piece for a while now. And I believe XQC, Ludwig, and Trainwreck's, if anyone doesn't know, he's like probably the biggest gambling streamer outside of XQC. The three of them were on a Discord call talking about gambling, when during that stream, I guess Twitch must have known they were talking about it. Twitch announced while they were streaming and talking about gambling that they were banning gambling streams. And it's weird because they're not banning gambling altogether. They're only banning gambling sites that aren't based within the US. So the biggest ones are, like, I only know Stake off the top of my head.
Yeah.
And there's a few other ones which aren't based in the US. They're based in the Middle East. And
which would make sense because they have slightly different laws around
yes,
that sort of stuff.
Yes.
Yeah.
So those sites specifically, in a month's time, it's like the 19th or early 20th of October, those sites are no longer going to be allowed on Twitch. And XQC and Trainwrecks in particular are not happy about that. If anyone doesn't know, like, gambling streams are huge on Twitch, and they pay a lot of fucking money to streamers to stream on those sites, like millions of dollars a month to play.
Like, when they're streaming and they're betting money, it's not their own money. It's like they're like, here's $1 million, use this to play slots.
And I don't know,
probably fudge the numbers to give you a bit more.
I don't know if you've ever watched any of the big gambling streamers,
like,
but
maybe 10 minutes of one
from
while we're out.
From the times I have gone into XQC stream while he's gambling and seen like how much money he is just throwing away, it's fucking.
Well, so I was at the boys' place and like Hugh, because Hugh, shouts out, that's a Tahi. He watches XQC quite a bit, and he chucked on his stuff just on the TV as we were having drinks and all that good stuff. And he's like, yeah, it's $10,000 spins.
Yeah.
Like,
and he streams for like 8 hours.
Yeah.
More than that. Like, he'll top up his account with like 500 grand. It's just fucking.
I read, and I'm not entirely sure who this was, but apparently there was another gambling streamer who also ended up coming out that he was scamming.
Yeah. So that was the next thing that I think this might have happened before, but there's another streamer, his name's Slicker, I think is how you pronounce it. He was also a gambling streamer, and he essentially is addicted to gambling, and he lost all of his money. And he had been in these Discord servers where I think Ludwig said it was one of his servers where he was messaging people on Discord, like sending them videos, being like, "Hey, listen, bro." Like he used very generic words, like he didn't say names or anything. So it seems like he sent the same video to a lot of people. Like here, he would be like, "Hey, bro, like I know it's weird for me to be messaging you on Discord, but basically my bank account's locked, and I'm having trouble with getting my taxes sorted. If you could send me some money, blah blah blah." And there was like, I don't know the exact number, but a lot of people got this message from him, and it ended up being, I can't remember the number, but it was hundreds of thousands of dollars that people had sent him altogether. And Twitch found out about it. They banned him. But that came out, and
I heard that it was also like he scammed a like cancer patient.
Yeah, so one of the people he scammed was I think it was a woman, may have been a dude who was going through chemotherapy, and this person going through chemo even sent him money because he made it seem like he really needed help. So that happened as well. Funnily enough, though, Twitch didn't ban sports betting. And that was what Slicker did. Like he bet on sports. And yeah, it's real weird because Twitch haven't gone all in on gambling bans. They've just banned.
You would think that they'd either go all in or they
Yeah.
just leave it, right? Do you think maybe this was just a response to the everything that was going on?
100%.
Being like,
100%. And I think Stake, the website, they tweeted a video which sort of encapsulates everything that's been happening pretty funnily. I'll try find it and put it in the chat. It can't be that old. Here it is. But yeah, basically, how do I share a tweet? I don't fucking know. I don't use this platform. I can just copy the link. Boom.
I want to have a look.
Because the video itself it's sort of.
There's that chick who got.
Yeah.
Who got fucked on. Turned out to be fake.
Yeah. And there's a couple other people there who have done other stuff where Twitch has just been a lot more lenient. Mm-hmm. And then it gets the stake and they just get told to fuck off. But yeah, it's very weird what they've done because they've only banned very specific websites and very specific scenarios from being able to be streamed, and it's interesting. But that's the gambling side of things, which, I mean, what are your thoughts and opinions on the whole gambling stuff?
When it comes to so I come from a family situation that involved a lot of gambling, so naturally I'm a little bit deterred from it. I don't. It's not like an outright "I hate this, I will never do it," blah blah blah, all that sort of stuff. Because I buy scratchies every now and then whenever I've got a couple of bucks in my pocket, or
buy lotto when it's 30 mil or whatever.
Yeah, that's usually what I do as well. But the thing with the gambling side of things is there needed to be more policing around it, and Twitch didn't do that. And I don't know how they would go about doing that. But I think I was talking to it was Hugh Angel, I think we were talking about it. He was like, there are people in like XQC's channel who were like commenting, being like, I straight up didn't realize I was using real money. And,
yeah, I've seen that.
That's like kids going to, because you don't need to prove who you are.
Mm-hmm.
You just sign up and you say, yeah, I'm over 18.
And it uses cryptocurrency, right?
It can use cryptocurrency, yeah. But the way that it works is if you upload, so the one that XQC uses, what you do is you add money to your account, but you can only cash out after you've made a certain amount of money from the gambling. So it's not like you can put $200 on, gain $13 and then cash out. You need to hit a certain threshold before you can cash out.
Which
So
in
it's a lot
itself
of,
is dangerous enough.
yeah. So there's a lot of varying factors. I don't particularly care, but I think Twitch needs to kind of sack up and decide whether or not they want to just get rid of it entirely or just leave it, because from what it sounds like, it's not fucking changing. Like, they're getting rid of one thing, and then like a handful of other things, and that's it. So yeah, in my opinion, like, and maybe I'm being a bit biased because my mate Hugh, that's Satahi, is also like half of his streams are gambling streams.
Mm-hmm.
So maybe I'm just like, I don't want them to ban it because I want him to keep streaming, but I'm also like, he'd probably just play Fortnite if he can't gamble on Twitch. But I think the site that he uses is the American one that you can use, so it won't super negatively affect him. But I don't have any strong opinions around it, but I think given how dangerous it is and how accessible Twitch is, there needs to be some more stuff,
The accessibility of Twitch, I think, is the main thing, because like anyone can make a Twitch account at any age.
Yeah.
And it's not like they police how old you are. It's just the classic, like, enter your date of birth. Okay, cool, ready to go.
And I think you also, like, you need to be a certain age to be able to
stream. I think you need to be 13 or 15 or something like that. Like, you have to be a certain age to actually stream on Twitch. I think YouTube is younger. But other than that, it's sort of just like, go watch this. And the problem, especially with XQC, I don't know what the other gambling streamers are like, but XQC has a lot of younger viewers.
Yes.
So having that many children watching someone click a button and go, hee hee, lots of money.
I got a lot of money. And like, let's be completely transparent and real. If he's like even remotely sponsored by them, they're giving him the money.
That's the thing. Like, he is
no money.
Those like Stake especially, they pay these streamers millions of dollars a month to stream.
Yeah, and for them to do that, the big issue is that a child will see that and be like, he won big dollars. Like,
I can do that.
That just sparked like a really weird memory in my brain, and it was like my little brother one time at the supermarket. My dad gave him $2 to play a claw machine, and he won. He won a ball or something like that, right? And then he was like, "Oh, okay, cool." And my little sister was like, "Oh yeah, I won a ball." So she gave, Dad gave her $2, and she obviously didn't win. And she just couldn't comprehend the fact that like Curtis won and she didn't. And that's exactly the same, right? With these kids watching him, they're gonna sign up to this thing. They'll probably use a fucking coupon code to get $50 for free or something like that, and XQC will get like $1 billion from that. And then it'll be like, but you have to sign up with a card or something along those lines. So they'll go steal their parents' credit card because, the usual. And then they don't win any money, or they don't win, and they're like, why is he winning so much? Because they won't comprehend.
What is the difference between what he's doing to what I'm doing?
Yeah. So
maybe I just need to do it more.
Yeah, and that in and of itself is also landing in a super dangerous space, because fucked if you're implanting a gambling mindset on a child from an early age, Like, even if the youngest person watching him is like 13 years old, and they're like, oh, I see how that's going. I've watched videos of people being like those classic, going into the street and being like, oh, do you have any NFTs? And he's like, oh yeah, I've got 2 fucking gorillas and whatever and all that sort of meme. And it's like, bro, you're 12. You're a 12-year-old. How the fuck do you even know what that is? And the answer is they have been brought up with it. and their minds are so melded to be able to do it, i.e., what we were talking about fucking an hour ago.
Speaking of NFTs, you know Jimmy Jackson?
Yeah.
So when the NFT stuff sort of took off, he got real into it. And like, I can't remember what the Australian, New Zealand, there was like a Discord group or whatever where they went real hard on NFTs and how they were going to start like selling real estate in the metaverse and all this shit. And like Jimmy Jackson got brainwashed by it and like went so ham on it on Instagram and stuff. So I stopped following him because I was like, you're a fucking idiot if you're believing all this shit. And then the other day I was like, oh, I wonder what Jimmy Jackson's up to. So I went to his Instagram and he's wiped all trace of the NFT stuff. Like there's nothing to be seen on his Instagram anymore. And I was just like, you're a fucking scumbag. Like
he would have done a pump and dump. That's basically what he would have done. Yeah.
And I was just like, fuck, that's so like, because he was posting about it every day, and I was like, I don't give a fuck about any of the scammy NFT shit.
It's actually super funny. There's two things that I want to talk about in regards to this. So one of my favorite channels, Super Mega, they do their podcast, and I was watching one recently, and he was Matt was talking about how his old man was like, oh, I was talking to my my work colleague, and he said that his son is into these NFTs, and he could create an NFT around Super Mega, and then you guys can sell it all, and we'll buy early, and all that sort of stuff. So it was like a very clear, like, this dude's son tried to scam Matt's old man into doing a pump and dump, basically. But it's super funny that sort of thing even happens. When I was so no ill intentions were had from my friend in this scenario, but he was following this guy who posted on Instagram, hey, does anyone know any New Zealand / Australian like smaller streamers that if you do, let me know. And he gave my name with no ill intention, because it was so vague. It was just like a thing. And he ended up doing what was happening was he was basically like, he was like, oh, let me know if you're free for a call at some point and something like that. And I was like, oh yeah, like, look, I get it, but I kind of want to know what you want to talk about so that I'm prepared in case, something comes up.
Of course.
And he was like, oh, just let me know when you're free, and we can have a chat. And I was like, look, tell me, what's this about? That was basically it. And he's like, so these NFTs. And I was like, sick. Hold on, let me see if I can actually find the chat that I had. There he is. Was it on? Yeah. Cool. So whole kind of thing was basically like, one of your friends pointed me your way. I'd love to be able to have tee up a conversation with you in the future related to streaming. And I was like, hey man, yeah, blah.
Oh, you froze.
Blah blah. I streamed for a couple of months, so I'm a little bit fresh, but sure. And he's like, cool, keen to talk sometime this weekend. And I was like, as soon as like there was no kind of, because I asked what it was, I was like, what are you thinking about talking about? And it was just very vague, like real vague throughout. And then he was like, oh, this weekend. And I was like, look, I'm kind of busy. I don't think I was. I just was wanting more information.
Yeah.
And I was like, I might be able to find some time, but what were you wanting to chat about? And he goes, basically, I've got this NFT project we're doing. Check it out. And so if I go to the NFT thing, it still exists, but the last thing that was posted was just like, it's constantly like clearing everything out and then restarting again, and he's like heavily focused on building a gaming community, and I wanted to talk to some local streamers about it, and I didn't reply after that. I was like, nah, I'm not going to reply to this. But like, it legit, that's what it felt like, was just like a pump and dump. And
well, that's really all funny. It was.
Yeah, it's really funny because if you go to the Instagram page for the thing, like a few people that a few New Zealand streamers that I know of are following the page. So I'm like, I guarantee you guys are getting fucking scammed out of the shit. But it was really funny, and like my mate who like gave him my name had no idea.
Oh yeah, of
what
course.
it was about, and I remember talking to him, my mate, and being like, "Oh yeah, this is what it was about." The issue with that sort of shit is that like I have a pretty dedicated community of people that come through and watch my shit, and if I decide to throw all of that away to get 8 people to fucking buy a
Raid Shadow Legend stream win.
like I'd be so fucked. I'd be like, Jesus Christ. If Raid ever came up to me and was like, "Do you want to sponsor?" I'd say, "Yeah, but I don't expect anything from my people."
Oh, fuck. If they were like, "Yo, we'll give you like any amount of money to stream Raid once," I'd be like, "Fuck yes."
Yeah, or even like one of those ones where it's like a creator code or something like that. I'd be like, "Yeah, sweet man, I'll fucking do it." If people decide to, they can. If they don't,
like people who watch us will be like,
I'll just create a bunch of fake accounts and sign up with my own code. Big money.
I feel like our communities would be onto it enough to know that we're doing it to
yeah,
like
100%.
But yeah, that's the one of the bigger pieces of the Twitch escapades that's been going on. And I won't say last, because I think stuff's happening literally every day where more and more stuff is happening. But the other big thing I wanted to bring up and talk about was the Rev Split. So
I do. Yeah, I have some fucking bits about that.
So Twitch, when you're an affiliate like we are, it's a 50-50 revenue split. I think ads are different now with everything that happened recently with what Twitch ads. I think we get 55% now for ads or something. Maybe more with how many ads you put on, I think. But basically,
like nothing. Like
no.
They run 2 ads on my videos and I get 1 cent.
Yeah,
like,
it's ad revenue has never been something I'm even looking at. Yeah. But not saying if I got fucking raided by like 2,000 people, I'm not gonna fucking run a quick ad. Like,
yeah. I low key, if I got hate rated, I'd be like, "Sick, see you guys in 2 minutes."
I'm gonna put a
just chuck a fucking
10-minute ad on real quick.
Yeah.
But yeah, so affiliates up until now have been on a 50-50 revenue split, where obviously 50% goes to you, 50% goes to Twitch. The same thing, it had been different for partners where it was a 70-30 split. So the streamer gets 70% and Twitch gets 30%. That had been how it's been for pretty much forever, I think. Obviously with YouTube gaming, a lot of Twitch streamers have migrated to YouTube. Obviously YouTube would have reached out and been like, "We'll give you X amount of money if you come and stream for us." And then YouTube's thing is it's a flat 70-30 for everyone, not just for their version of partners, whatever that's called. Like, even if you're an affiliate of YouTube gaming, you still get 70% of the revenue. And I can't remember exactly when, but maybe a few months ago or whenever it was, a lot of people started talking about the revenue split and how they weren't happy with what Twitch was doing. And a couple days ago, I want to say, Twitch, I was watching Moist's video on it, Penguin Zero.
Yeah, Penguin Zero.
Critical's video on it. And he said I think he said he woke up and he saw a tweet from Twitch, which was basically like, we've got an update to our revenue situation, and then they put a link, and his first reaction to seeing that was, finally, like, they're gonna come up, like, all this shit's been happening to Twitch, they've made the decision to talk about this now so they can come out and look like take it as a huge W.
Yeah.
And then no, it wasn't that. They took the biggest L, and instead of saying that they were going to make everyone 70-30, they went the opposite way and said that they're going to make everyone 50-50, even partners. And he was just like, what the fuck? And in the post, I didn't read all of it, but in the post, Twitch basically said, with the recent changes in the ad revenue, they don't see partners making any significantly less money. Like they were saying, like basically with the new ad revenue split, you should be expecting to make either just under what you were making before or the same amount that you were making before. But the thing with that is they're just pushing ads.
Yeah.
And Twitch's ads, obviously everyone knows Twitch's ads are the fucking worst because they take you away from the stream. Yeah. They are incredibly intrusive. They happen at the most random fucking times, and sometimes they are unskippable.
Mm-hmm.
And there's like you don't have a choice with what kind of ad plays on your channel. It's always the same.
There's no partnership around that. It's just like currently I opened up your stream just now, as we were talking about the ads, on my phone, to see what ad was playing beforehand, and it's an ad for recruiting in the army.
What?
Yeah.
No, I don't want that.
Yeah, especially because Basic takes you away from watching me for like 3 months. But the idea around that is fucking stupid. So whoever pitched this to the bigwigs at Twitch was like, you're going to make a fuck ton of money from making this decision. This decision. There we go. But didn't tell Twitch the repercussions of doing it. They just said you've got a lot of money coming your way. The issue with that is people in our scenario, right, where we've set up our Twitch so that when you get look, we're out here grinding, Mike. That's how it works. The issue with that is that people like us, for example, turn off subscription. Like people who are subscribed don't get ads, which is a thing that you should do even as a large streamer because they're already giving you money. Like they're already giving you money, but that means that someone has to. That they're now going to turn that off and say these guys aren't going to be making, like, you guys are already giving me money. I'm still going to have to run ads though. Like I still have to run ads for you, and that's kind of fucked up.
I will just clarify. I've brought up the information. So
cool.
It says we're adjusting the deal so that these partners or whoever they are, these streamers, will retain their 70 to 30 split for the first $100,000 earned. Any revenue above $100,000 will be split at 50-50.
Okay.
Which isn't, like, when you think about it, there are, because they also say for approximately 90% of streamers, this isn't going to change anything.
Yeah.
So the real people who get fucked by this are those top, essentially the top 1, maybe 2% of streamers, because they're easily making a lot more than $100,000 a month or whatever. And to take essentially what is a 20% pay cut from your employer is like, what?
Why? What? In what world would you accept that? Right?
And like what Mike's just said, I don't see this being anything but bad news for Twitch.
Yeah, the thing is people are going to be like, fuck this, and then they're just going to leave. They're going to be like, sweet, let's go to YouTube streaming.
Like,
and the more people that pump into YouTube streaming, the more they're going to be like, fuck yeah, all right, we'll start putting money into this, and they'll pump money into this to make it a better platform. But the issue with that is you're dragging all of these people from one site to another, and not every, like, you know, fucking, if I look at, I'm just going to look at Critical's thing right now and just see how many followers he's got. So he's got 4.5 million followers. If he didn't create a YouTube channel or didn't have like his YouTube channel already, there's no way that he would drag 4.5 million followers over to him. Like,
yeah, but that's, I've seen other streamers talking about, like the biggest streamers talking about it, is like they're all sort of, not that a lot of them haven't already, but a lot of them are now like focusing more on their YouTube channels and building up the subscriber base on YouTube, so that I'm sure YouTube Gaming is already in talks with a lot of fucking big Twitch streamers right now, trying to figure out how much they're going to get paid and blah, 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 blah.
Yep.
So there's no way. Yeah, like Tim the Tap Man, who I used to always watch on Twitch, he's now on YouTube. Dr. Disrespect, obviously, went to YouTube a while ago.
Yeah, but Dr. Dis
For reasons.
Doctor had some other reasons.
For reasons.
Shouts out cheating on your wife at a Twitch event. Let's go.
Whatever reasons. And then there's a few other people as well who are obviously just going to jump to YouTube. And
yeah.
I think I was talking about it a bit in your stream. Like, the only way YouTube Gaming can really go is up. Right now, their interface for watching streams is absolute dog shit. It's so hard to find streamers. It's hard, like, even when people you are subscribed to on YouTube are live, yes, in the sidebar on the left they are at the top and it has the little symbol next to them saying that they're live, but I don't know, it's not, because it's YouTube, it doesn't have the same sort of identity that Twitch does, where like you go to Twitch to watch someone live stream, you don't go to YouTube to watch someone live stream.
Yeah, that's their whole, like, the body behind it, right?
There are huge benefits with YouTube streaming though, like you can live rewind. Like, how Twitch hasn't implemented that is still beyond me.
Yeah.
Like the fact that you can, like, if like the amount of times I've gone into like Doc's stream or Tim's stream and been like, I don't care about what's happening right now, I want to go back and watch a bit from there or whatever. Like, and being able to do that is cool. But yeah, sorry, what were you gonna say?
I was just about to say as well, the other thing with the way that Twitch works is it pushes certain people on the front page. But fuck, who was it? One of those YouTubers that do Twitch, and they're like, this is how you grow your channel, you know, those sorts of fun videos and stuff. A lot of them also do this is how you set up a certain thing, so I watch based on that stuff. But they did talk, I remember an autoplay of a video being like, I reached out to all of my followers on Twitter to decide to figure out how you discover people or how you use Twitch. And the one with the most picks was I go straight to my following channels, followed channels. So on the thing, the next thing I do is look at recommended channels. The thing after that is the front page, and then lastly is just like whoever's there. I'll jump on a big streamer's stream or something like that, or I look up the game that I want to watch.
A big thing I liked, I think a lot of, I'll just quickly say,
yeah, sure.
A big thing I liked that they took away, and I think they took it away because they had the numbers that not a lot of people used it, but I really liked it, was when you used to be able to see what your Twitch friends, who they were watching. I don't know if you have friends on Twitch. Like, there used to be, underneath your followed channels, underneath your followed channels, there used to be a section where it's like, friends online, and then if they were watching someone on Twitch, it would say
I do
join.
remember seeing that,
and you could go watch who they were watching. Because majority of the time, if there's people I'm friends with on Twitch, I'm probably going to enjoy the people that they're watching. But they took it away, and I like that.
So here, like my followed channels, you know, I've got a few people up on at the moment, and the other thing that people look at is the recommended channels. Literally, out of all of these people, I have. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 channels that they're recommending right now without me clicking show more. One of them has less than 2K viewers, and the one that has less than 2K viewers has 57. The rest of them are people like Jimmy here, that guy who did It's Wednesday, My Dudes. XQC just started, and he's already got 6K viewers.
I think I stopped following XQC.
Yeah. Moist Critical has 13K. Amaranth has 7.
You follow Amaranth, my dude?
No, these are my recommended channels. And then Tyler 1 is 18 or almost 19 now. Let's see what Amaranth is doing real quick. Not as research purposes.
Yeah, I'm also interested in knowing what she's doing right now.
Okay. I see.
What the fuck?
I
What
just
the
got
fuck? What is she
low
doing?
key. I shit you not. Hold on, let me fucking.
What is
let
she
me
doing?
fucking scream.
What is she doing?
Just crawling around in
Why
front of the
is?
pool.
What the fuck?
So
What the fuck is
as soon,
happening?
hold on, let me grab this. As soon as I popped up, I was like, oh, I want to see what she's doing. Oh, damn, the pop up disappeared. I can't do. Damn, it's disappeared. So I got a pop up from AVG being like, uh, being like, as soon as I clicked on that link to her channel,
It is research, Mike. You know it's research.
it goes, your files are being looked at, it does like those pop-ups to try and sell you the thing, and I was like, that's very funny. That is very funny. Very fitting. But
But
yeah, yeah, I don't know. It just seems a bit fucking mental to me, to be honest.
it's what would make you start again on YouTube gaming? Would anything? Because the only reason I ask is, for me, I don't know how many of the people who watch me on Twitch would do the same.
Over. Oh yeah, okay.
And would come over, like would do the same and watch. And I don't know if I'm, because another thing with, just very quickly, another thing with YouTube gaming is to start making money from it, you need at least 1,000 subscribers,
which is not an impossible task. But it is a task that would require a lot more work, I feel.
Mm-hmm.
That video that I asked everyone to, kind of told everyone to watch, in regards to Super Eye Patch Wolf and his talk about becoming a YouTuber, doing that sort of thing. I don't think there is, after watching that video, I don't think there is a lot that would make me move to YouTube gaming. I think unless Twitch turned around and was like, cool, affiliate doesn't exist anymore. You guys aren't getting money. We're giving, or like it was like a situation where it was like, you're getting, it does the like reverse. You get 30, we get 70. Like at that point I'd be like, I'm not doing this anymore. Not because of the money, but because I have people who I know automatically resub to me every.
And at that point, it's not like you wouldn't want them.
Like you're just giving Twitch your money at that point, and that's kind of ridiculous. So I think that would be the only way that I would decide, nah, I'm not going to do it. But it would suck because I would still want to stream, but it would mean that I'd have to start doing something else in order to do that, and that's when I'd move to YouTube. I'll probably do what I've been wanting to do for the last fucking 10
years.
15 years, and actually start making YouTube videos. And then as I do that, stream. Like maybe I'd try do the classic, like put out a video every day, where I play a game for like, I don't know, like 2 or 3 hours, and then divvy that out accordingly. And then upload it over a week or something like that. And then maybe do like a live, once I hit that point, do a live stream every couple of days maybe. But there's so many variables in this situation. I wouldn't put it past Twitch to do that if they're doing this now, to do that later on down the line. But it'd be a smaller amount, so it'd be like, once you hit $1,000 a month or something like that, we take 50% of it.
It's fucking stupid.
Yeah,
because it's weird. Like, I mean, Mike talked about it, or he said like Google has tech behind them. So yes, but Amazon is not a small company either.
No.
So it's weird. It's so odd of them to be this greedy when they're already a massive company making all of this money. And
I will admit as well, Twitch has some weird like terms of service and everything like that, but YouTube is so much worse for that. Like they have some really piss poor terms of service stuff, and they're very much like, you can't do this, you can't do this. It's like, okay, so what can I do? What can I actually do? and they protect their big fucking users and don't give a shit about the smaller ones, which is the. I mean, that's always the case, right? With every company that
Oh,
has
100%.
situations like this, yeah.
It's interesting though, because there's a lot of people who are essentially employed by Twitch or by YouTube. So it's like I don't foresee, like, I would love to stream full time. I don't foresee it happening anytime soon.
No.
But if it were to happen, it is weird to think about stuff like this where out of the blue your company, the company you work for, can just be like, hey, we're gonna just reduce how much money you make by 20%.
Yep.
And you're just stuck there like, well, okay. And it's one of the things that I guess you have to deal with when you're not technically like, I know there are streamers with contracts and stuff, but majority of
income is based purely around people
coming to watch you. Yeah.
And
that could stop at any moment.
Yeah, and comparative to our job, like if I started streaming tomorrow, and no one showed up, everyone unsubscribed, like that would be no skin off my scrote, you know? Like I would lose nothing from that. But if that happened to someone who's like I have a friend, she did full-time stream, and then she had a few things go on in her life that stopped her from doing that. And as a result, she was no longer able to full-time stream, which is shitty, which is a shit situation. She also realized that a lot of what she was doing was because she needed to make sure that she made enough money. So at one point she was playing just Minecraft and she fucking hated like every second of it. Because people would come in and be like, to do this you have to do this, and she's like, I know, I'm just playing it the way that I want to play it. So and it's a really, there's a super fine line between like me and you can fucking take a day off work and it's not going to be the end of the world for us, but these guys are going to take a day off streaming and lose.
When you make hundreds or thousands of dollars a day, you are way more inclined to just work.
Yeah.
It's like there's been so many streamers that I've seen who like find taking a vacation or whatever is the hardest thing to do, because it's like the moment you lose that or you do that, you lose tens of thousands of dollars.
Yeah, it's the other issue is that it's the consistency, right? Like can't you can't take time off, because once you do, like that consistent revenue that you're getting, as well as Twitch being like, this person is streaming like every single day, they're averaging like 2,000 viewers. Awesome, we're going to start pushing them as much as possible to get them to move up. And then they're like, I'm fucking burnt out because I've been streaming 8 hours a day every single day for the last year. I'm going to take 2 weeks off. You come back and you're getting like 100 followers. Oh, sorry, 100 viewers. Because Twitch is like, they've given up and we don't want to deal with that.
Because that was another thing I think Ludwig talked about, was Twitch's like partner contracts ask a lot more from the streamer than YouTube does, like in terms of how many hours a month you stream. Like YouTube is a lot more forgiving with how many hours you stream compared to Twitch when it comes to partner contracts anyway. Obviously with affiliate they don't give a fuck, but yeah. But yeah, that's essentially all of the shit that's been going on.
Yeah, I don't want to talk about any of the other stuff in terms of like the SA shit, because I don't know anything about it.
So I don't know enough, and I haven't really been keeping up with that stuff because it doesn't affect me.
Yeah, and it actually affects all of us, but I
also
don't want to
disgusting.
Talk about I know. Yeah, it's super fucked. Anyway, hey, what are you gonna recommend this week?
I haven't. I was trying to think of one before we started, and I couldn't think of anything. What do you have one? While I sit here?
That's what I where are you? I'm gonna check it in the chat real quick. Oh, how do I spell it? We'll just go Psych of Play.
Oh yeah.
Once I actually spell it correctly. I've also been watching a whole fuck ton of Jake and Amir. the old like Jake and Amir videos. They're very good. They're very good. So mine's just a quick YouTube channel. I'm a big fan of video essays, and he does some really interesting ones. I'm not going to recommend any video in particular. You guys can have a click through and figure out what you want to watch. But yeah, that one's mine. That one's mine. I was watching a video of his before we started streaming. Yeah.
Yeah, it's annoying because I don't like videos on YouTube anymore. So
Yeah, I need to get better at that. One, because I know that it's like, you know, it helps him out a little bit, and two, it'll help me go back and figure out what I've been watching.
because there's probably been a lot of stuff I've watched this last week, which I've been like, fuck, that was cool, but I didn't like it, so I can't go back and be like, what did I watch?
Yeah.
What is this? Let me watch this real quick. I did. I'm not going to recommend it. No, unfortunately, I'm going to have to say I don't have one this week.
That's all good, mate. We don't need one every week.
I will attempt to
play God of War 2018.
I'm going to do that before Ragnarok comes out for sure.
Yep.
Yeah, let's plays used to be a big thing, but they've kind of stopped. I know a lot of creators have like let's play channels, but they never do as good as like their regular content.
Like one of the people that I watch and was one of the reasons that I wanted to.
And those let's play channels are just VODs from live streams anyway.
Yep. So the Chugga Conroy was and will forever be one of the reasons why I wanted to play. Wanted to do like YouTube, and he hasn't uploaded in a month. It actually looks like holy shit. But like he's got 1.27 million subscribers, so he's got a lot of subscribers. And over the last, let's just say month. Over the last month, he's uploaded 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 videos, and collectively, it's probably like 300,000 views for all 6 of those videos. So his viewership has gone down dramatically, and I would chalk that up to people no longer kind of getting into the let's play side of things.
Yeah.
Instead just watching VODs, which makes a bit more sense because you can click to whatever you want. Sick.
But,
cool.
The algorithm holds them back. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, the one last thing we can very quickly talk about was obviously GTA 6 leaked. And I don't know if you've seen like what a lot of other developers have been doing recently, because like the GTA 6 footage that leaked was footage from like 2019 up until now. It was from like the last 3 years, and a lot of people on Twitter and stuff have been saying it looks like shit. And I'm like, well, it's a game in development. Like, what do you expect it to look like? And a lot of other developers have been supporting Rockstar and like uploading footage of what their games look like at that point in development, which is really cool. Like Control, I don't know if you've seen the one from the developers of Control.
The only one that I have seen is the one for the people who did Horizon.
With like the block.
The block,
yeah. Because the Control devs were like, our game won like best graphics or whatever, but this is what it looked like in development, and it was just, it looked terrible.
Yeah.
And they were like, because it was all based on one guy who, in his tweet, said he helped with game design, where he was like, the quote that all the developers are quoting,
like the graphics.
Yeah, he's like, graphics are the first thing they're completed, and all these developers are just quoting that. Like, no, it's fucking not. Like, that's like the last thing you do. You build the world and shit first, and then you add the graphics.
Yeah.
And there's all these like developers uploading clips of what their games have looked like 1 or 2 years into development, and it just to be like, why is everyone like bagging on Rockstar just because the game doesn't look good?
It is cool that they're kind of like, look, don't get me wrong, I appreciate it. They're also multi-billion-dollar companies.
Oh yeah, 100%.
So, you know, we give them, I'd say this with a grain of salt, but I'm glad that they're like stepping up and being like, actually, you guys are wrong. This is actually what it's like. This is what our job entails, basically. So yeah, I I think that's cool, and I think it's quite an interesting thing to kind of get behind and see how everything runs, because I don't fucking know. Like, I know about as much as a person who understands that a game needs to be developed. I don't know where they start or what they do. All I know is that they probably have a big fucking grey box that they start on and then work their way from there.
Essentially, that's what happens. But yeah, GTA 6 probably see more from that in the next couple of years. I don't know.
I would say by the end of this year they might address this by saying this is currently what we have going on.
They've put a few statements out. They put a couple of statements out, being like, it must suck for them.
Yeah,
It
apparently it
must be
was
the
like a
worst fucking
16-year-old like kid in the UK that leaked
I saw, because he apparently also got the source code for the game, which is like the holy grail of game development, which like, and he supposedly put it online and sold it to someone for like $100,000, but then that person ended up being a scammer. Like the person who made $100,000 didn't have the fucking source code. He was just some random dude who made $100,000 real quick by scamming some other dude.
That's so sick.
But yeah, it's weird that GTA 5 came out 9 years ago.
Yeah, bro, I got a. I should download the video from Facebook. I got a video. So when again, like 2 minutes. When GTA 5 came out, originally I didn't have enough memory in my Xbox to play it. So when I uploaded everything and did all that sort of stuff, they were like, you need extra memory or blah 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 or whatever. So I went out and got more, but I did this video where it was like clear. It was like at the peak of How to Basic and his like whole shtick. So it was me just like tapping the Xbox, throwing shit and all that sort of stuff, but it was just my hand. But it was, I got that like, it must have been like the day of release, because I can't remember when I would have had to, because now that I'm thinking about it, I did the midnight release. It can't have been, if you recall me talking about my flatmate's mate knocking over my fucking out the disc. It must have been like that must have been the midnight release one that I picked up, and then it would have maybe like the day beforehand. So maybe I just combined those days together. Regardless, pretty fucking funny. I'm a funny person. I was funny from the get-go. Cool. Is that us? What do we reckon?
I think that's us. Yeah, that's us.
Awesome. Hey, fucking man, we nailed it today.
I think so. We covered our topics.
We covered a bit of content.
Oh, because the name of the podcast.
The podcast.
The name of the duo.
Sick, man. Cool. We are now back into our regular schedule as well. So we'll be back in 2 weeks from now.
2 weeks.
Tackle another bit of content.
Mm-hmm.
And then maybe, because the following one will be episode 10, and it'll also likely be Halloween, or very, very close to. So
it will be... Well, it'll be the
22nd.
Oh, episode 10, yeah.
Yeah, it will be the 22nd.
Oh, spooky podcast.
But I'm sure we'll figure something fun out. Either way, I've been Marcus.
I have been Vak. You have been watching Bitter Content, episode 8. Episode 8, addressing the drama.
We've addressed all of the drama.
For now, Marcus is gonna go get on the piss.
I'm gonna go get on the piss. Go into my Discord. I promise I won't drunk post in there.
Yes, you will.
Unless, sick. All right. Yeah, that's us.
That's us. All right.
Cool.
Take care, everyone. See you next time. Adios.
Deuces.
Mwah.